Renovating in France, kitchen at the start and how it's looking now. So it isn't finished by a long shot, but it's advanced quite a bit. And I find these videos are quite interesting, showing just the difference between as it was when I inherited the house or bought the house and everything that came with it and where we're at this stage. It's always a useful gauge that you can look at, because it's easy for me to forget how much work has actually taken place here, and at times I look and think, my God, there's still tons and tons of things to do. And then when I look at the old videos and see just how bad the state the house was in and how close it is to completion now, it makes a big difference to my morale. So I thought you might want to share this video with me. So we're looking at where we're currently at, early October or mid-October, where jointing's been done, the plasterboard's more or less all in place for the ceiling now, ventilation's been in place, cables are there ready for the lighting. I need to do something with the beam, the purlin that isn't square or isn't doesn't run plumb. So there's a tiny bit of it that sticks out beyond the plasterboard, and a fair bit of it that is just slightly within. Anyway, I need to rejig that. So this was how I inherited the house. This was the state of the place. Like I say, it's interesting. Because it's easy to think, well, there's still tons to do, but actually we've done a lot already. Or I've done a lot already. So that's the royal we again that I use. So the grottiness that was the kitchen got ripped out. I remember someone saying, "Oh, you could just give that a damn good clean up." And I thought, yeah, I don't think so. I think that's beyond the pale. That, and then obviously the humidity and all the rest of it. That was part and parcel of the kitchen. Obviously, it was quite a humid area. Sadly, the plasterboard seemed to create more of a problem than the walls themselves, because when that plasterboard was taken off, plasterboard with polystyrene backing, the walls themselves are actually dry. The walls here are very, very thick, around about 20 inches thick or 50 centimetres thick. So you're not getting moisture that's coming through there. What you were getting with this house was the humidity was being held because of the polystyrene behind the plasterboard, and then the plasterboard was just soaking up whatever moisture was there and turning black. So this was just as I came across it, with lots of snacks still available. I was 12 years old. They obviously went down the déchetterie as well. Yeah, horrible mess. And then that wall has come down to create a much larger area of kitchen, and obviously we've got the vaulted ceiling gone in as well, which makes a big difference. Gives it a feeling of slightly more spacious, because the ceilings in the house are quite low downstairs, so it's quite nice that in the kitchen you've got that feeling of space. And this is just sort of looking through what was the bathroom area. Toilet remains in that position. All the pipe work is there. The evacuation of the water goes from there anyway, so it just made sense to reutilise that. And that is the downstairs loo, and all the junk that was. And the window that's there now is in front of the kitchen sink, which has been put in place. And that vanity unit and stuff has gone, and everything else. That old toilet is currently outside waiting to go down the déchetterie, and that's all nice and clear. And then we look at obviously starting to take the stuff out from the kitchen so that wall could come down, so that we could open up the space and give the kitchen a slightly different feel. So you've got almost like a kitchen diner area now, because you've got one side of it which you can use for dining, but a small table and chairs in there. They've got quite a nice buffet that I picked up from one of the neighbours for not a lot of money. That makes for a nice bit of storage just in that area as well. And then that's separated slightly from the kitchen, which is made up of two buffets, which I bought again from the same neighbour, and sort of converted them into my base units for the kitchen. And this was the ceiling prior to it coming down. I've been able to use the rails, reuse the rails there. I've been able to reuse the timber and the paneling as well, and the electrics to a degree. What was there just snipped off the end, so you got back to a nice bit of clean copper. And we're up and running again with the electric. So tried to reuse whatever I could reuse with the house. If you've been following the channel, you'll know that I tend to reuse 95% of whatever I come across. There's very little that gets chucked away. Obviously, the old plasterboard was absolutely knackered, so that had to go, and is of no use anyway. And then we're back into the where we're at currently now with the ceiling in the kitchen, the vaulted ceiling. So doing the joints and doing the screw holes and just working my way along that. It's a big area, and like I say, the beam that's there doesn't protrude sufficiently. I'd have some sort of beam to expose there. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably rip down a section of oak and just add it on, maybe just an inch or so, or 25 millimeters, just so it's slightly proud of the plasterboard. And then when that's stained in with linseed oil, or treated with linseed oil, it should make quite a nice feature, just separation of the vaulted ceiling in the kitchen. And then that obviously ties in then with the section of A-frame that you can see, which again will be, we'll have linseed oil, be sanded down a little bit more on linseed oil as well. And then that first section there, that effectively will be where the sort of the dining area is. And then the section where I'm filming from, this is sort of the main kitchen area, the hub of the kitchen, which will obviously have the cooker and the hob and extractor. And you've got obviously 3 windows now, which are supplying light at ground level. And then you've got the 2 Velux windows as well in the ceilings, in the ceiling there, which help to throw some more light in throughout the course of the day. So that's effectively that's how it's looking, and the walls there. So you've got pipe work that's running, that actually running now for the showroom, rather, for the vanity unit, and that will then be, I'll use the tongue and groove that I bought for the ceilings upstairs. I've still got a couple of packs that left. That should be sufficient to do those 2 sections of wall there, just down to where the nice beams begin. And then again, you've got a contrast between new and old. So you can see one of the Veluxes, a bit of temporary lighting in place, and there's been lots of sanding. It does still need a little bit more sand and a little bit more fillering, but I'm fairly happy with the progress I've made on that. And I hope you found this video interesting, seeing how it was at the beginning and where we're at the moment, October 2025. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave comments, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you.